She killed her newborn child, heir to throne, granddaughters, relatives, and family to rule China alone on her own terms. A power-hungry, ruthless woman who destroyed China with her greed. Or that's what they say. She was the only female emperor of China. Her name? Wu Zetian. First, let's know about her before investigating whether the things said by early historians were true or not. Wu Zetian joined the royal family as the emperor's concubine at the age of 13 to 14. Her beauty caught the emperor's attention, but that wasn't the only thing. She was very intelligent, and the emperor loved her intellect as much as her body, I guess. But where did her ambition come from? Some records say that she received an unusual education at an early age, learning things women at the time weren't supposed to. Born in AD 624, to a father who was a timber merchant and a mother in the Yang family, Wu was not raised to be near power. Though of lesser nobility, her family was relatively wealthy, and the young daughter was afforded an excellent education. This served her immeasurably when summoned to join the royal court at 14 years old as an imperial concubine of Emperor Taizong. She rose in power and learned to govern. However, after Taizong's death, she was sent away. Yet his son, who had already slept with her, was so enchanted that he brought her back. At the time, he already had an empress who, well, couldn't do anything to stop Wu's return. Wu wasted no time climbing the ranks and became the emperor's favorite once again. Before anyone could understand her plans, she had already borne the emperor an heir, proving herself more capable than the empress. It is said that she killed her first newborn son to get rid of the empress, and it worked. Whether it's true or not, we can't be sure, but it's a possibility. She became the official empress after that. Her husband soon died due to illness, but before he passed, she managed to have 4 sons and a daughter. After his death, she claimed the title of emperor, shocking everyone. But with most of her rivals dead, who was left to oppose her? Historians believe she was actually a better emperor than a mother or wife. She was the one who let foreigners enter China freely, expanding trade and business. In Wu Zetian's Chang'an, the east and west markets marked the start of the Silk Road. In the west market, goods from lands beyond Chang'an were bought and sold. Silk Road trade not only made Wu's empire wealthy, it brought so many foreigners to China that her capital became one of the first truly cosmopolitan cities in the world. People from across the globe traveled to China, and many chose to stay. This multicultural influence can still be felt in present-day Xi'an. When Buddhism gained popularity, she used it to win the favor of the people, which seems to have worked well considering the temples they found. Wu Zetian ordered rice from eastern China to be transported via canal, stockpiled in vast grain stores, then redistributed in times of need. During the early 7th century, China suffered prolonged droughts, leading to famines. But under Wu Zetian, improvements to the rice store's design proved invaluable. The massive scale of this granary testifies to the power and capability of Empress Wu's regime. She was a capable ruler. The grain kept here could last for years, contributing not just to the stability of her regime but also to the future of the Tang dynasty. Archaeology reveals that Wu Zetian was an efficient administrator who ensured her people, and her soldiers, were always fed. But despite her successes, as a woman, she could never rely on the support of the aristocratic establishment. She needed allies. In a radical break with tradition, Wu allowed commoners to join the administration of her government. She encouraged women to be entrepreneurs and permitted Chinese women to divorce and marry freely for the first time. In a moment of breathtaking audacity, she even appointed a female prime minister named Shangguanwaner. Shangguanwaner's tomb was dismantled by order of Empress Wei, Wu Zetian's successor. This destruction is directly linked to chronicles that paint Wu as evil and incompetent. The dismantling of Shangguanwaner's grave was part of an intentional process to erase vestiges of female power during the late 7th and early 8th centuries, as the Confucian patriarchy reasserted itself. By 690 AD, Wu Zetian had ascended the throne to become the first female emperor to rule the Chinese Empire. But her opponents were determined to unseat her. She had annihilated many of her enemies. But where there's power, there are always rivals and contests. Although there is clearly more to Wu Zetian than the ancient writers led us to believe, some tales of her callousness were not just propaganda. An art historian discovered new texts in the tomb of Wu's great-granddaughter, Princess Yongtai, that suggest even family blood knew no mercy. One passage describes Princess Yongtai's miscarriage caused by the Zhang brothers' secret medicine, likely poison. The Zhang brothers, close allies of Wu, did her bidding. Wu was known to pit people against each other in court, using one to poison or kill another. It seems she may have done the same with her own kin. What was her motive? Why did she want the princess dead? Yongtai was bearing the child of two powerful clans competing for the throne. Wu may not have wanted this child born, regardless of its gender. As emperor, Wu Zetian successfully fought off all rivals to maintain power, but the cost was blood. She executed hundreds of members of the ruling family. Her reign of terror was extreme, but she was not without conscience. Haunted by her deeds, Wu turned her mind toward the afterlife. Seeking forgiveness for her sins, she wrote a confession engraved onto a golden tablet, which was taken to Mount Song, a sacred peak. In 700 AD, she threw this tablet down the mountain as a ritual for absolution. Nearly 1,300 years later, a farmer found the tablet on the mountain slopes. It read, "The ruler Wu Zhao admires the true Tao with its long-lived immortal spirits. Her servant has been commissioned to go reverently to the pinnacle of the central peak of Mount Song and cast the golden tally that might expiate her sinful nature." This public act was a visible statement of her repentance. Whether she truly believed in absolution or sought to create a specific impression, we may never know. Throughout her life, Wu Zetian shattered Confucian tradition, rising from a lowly concubine to become the only female emperor of China. She achieved much, making China better for women, creating a wealthy and peaceful empire, and fostering a cosmopolitan capital. When Wu Zetian's rule ended at the age of 80, she wasn't usurped. She abdicated. Even in stepping down, she maintained control over her story.